Welcome to The Author Show, where we feature new authors and books, from fiction to self-help and everything in between. You'll find it all at theauthorshow.com. That's theauthorshow.com. And now let the show begin.
Hello and welcome back to the show. This is your host, Don McCauley. Today we're welcoming the program author Rick Peterman, and he is the author of Deep Foundations, a biblical tour of our past, present, and future. Before I bring in today's guest, a quick reminder that selected interviews are available on our iPhone app, which can be downloaded in the App Store, as well as on TV on the Roku channel and Amazon Fire TV. Our app name on all platforms is simply The Author Show. Rick, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
I'm an older person that has been walking with God for many years, seen many miracles and understanding that God has given me regarding His Word.
So tell us about your book.
The book is about the Bible and many different things in the Bible. There's 5 sections, 19 chapters. It contains time charts and diagrams. It's like a library of books to help you understand the Bible, from creation to warfare and where we are now, to our destiny and what heaven will be like.
So who did you write your book for specifically? Who's your target audience?
The book is geared more towards college age and above, for those that want to know what the Bible has to say and understand it.
Could you say there's any type of central message or perhaps underlying theme that you would say runs throughout your book?
Yes, it clarifies what the Bible has to say on many areas. It includes how we're made up, the definitions that are consistent with the Bible and life regarding our soul, what that is, it's the person we are, our nature, how that affects us, as well as things like the time that Jesus died, crucifixion time, which most people don't understand, was actually not Friday, and He was 3 days and 3 nights as He sat in a tomb, to our destiny, what heaven's going to be like, and how we are perfected to be able to enter heaven.
So if you had to choose, what would you say is the single most important idea you're sharing in your book that's really going to add value to the reader's life?
It helps us to make better decisions, because decisions have consequences. And if we're deceived, and you don't know when you're deceived until the truth comes out, you'll make poor decisions. There's a way with deception. It helps us see the truth so we can be wiser to make better decisions.
Now, if you could compare your book with any book out there we might already be familiar with, which book would it be and why?
Purpose-Driven Life might be a good comparison. It actually focuses on what life's all about.
So tell us more about the content of the book.
Well, the book has 5 sections that are, each chapter is different on a different subject. There's time charts, and the content has to do with everything from our origins and the makeup of us, our Trinity, the Trinity of man, the Trinity of God, as well as where we are, how we got here today, as well as where we're headed, what heaven's going to be like, as well as it covers prophecy, things ahead.
And how did you come up with this information?
I couldn't find it anywhere in books or people that I'd asked when I was younger, growing up. So I prayed a lot. Actually, God started showing me things when I was 20 years old in the Bible. And I started seeing that there was inconsistencies in many places, but not in the Bible. Once you understand what it actually says and get a good translation of it, then He started showing me things that are there that make sense and answered all my questions that I had. I prayed first, I read second, and then I tried to understand what I was seeing. And it makes clear sense. Everything come together.
So give us an example of one of the misinterpretations you're discussing here.
Okay, well, one example is, for instance, most people traditionally celebrate Jesus' crucifixion on Good Friday. The Bible is very clear that Good Friday was actually the Feast of Unleavened Bread. It followed the Passover. Passover was on Thursday that year. Friday was the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and they celebrate leaving Egypt. It says in all 4 Gospels that Jesus was crucified on Preparation Day. That would be Wednesday. And Jesus Himself said He would be 3 days and 3 nights in a tomb. When you count the nights and you count the days between when He was put in the tomb at the end of Wednesday to the Resurrection Day, Sunday, you'll find that there are exactly 3 days and 3 nights. He also said that He'd be in the tomb and He'd come out after 3 days and on the 3rd day. That's because there's 2 clocks in the New Testament. One starts at that time at 6 o'clock, sundown. The other one was midnight, the Gentile clock. So Jesus rose from the dead on the 3rd day and after 3 days, which shows us that He rose from the dead between 6 o'clock Saturday afternoon, and midnight, which would be actually the Sunday, Jewish time. It begins at sundown, just like Passover still begins at sundown, and the night comes before the day. So therefore, his resurrection was narrowed by himself. Jesus said, between 6 o'clock and midnight, because it was on the third day, which is before midnight, and after 3 days, which is after sundown, when the Sabbath, the weekly Sabbath ended. The high Sabbath is Passover. That was Thursday, and he was there Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and rose on Sunday. But people don't see this, but it's clear in the Bible. All four Gospels, as well as the Old Testament, makes it very clear, the whole process, that Jesus was 3 days and 3 nights exactly, and he rose from the dead. It's part of history. It transforms our life.
And what is the significance of that?
Well, for one, it shows that what looks like contradictions is actually accurate and refinement. He did rise from the dead on the third day and after the third day. He did actually say that he would do this. He said that he could redeem our life by giving us a free gift. The gift is a new nature, the divine nature, to replace our old nature, which is fallen, corrupted. That's what we understand at the beginning of the book. It defines our nature. It defines our soul as a person we are. So we can understand as a person, we can receive a new identity. That's called being born again. That's when we have a new nature that actually makes us a child of God. It's the Holy Spirit, the one that Jesus died for, to send. He paid for the sins of the world at that time, and then he gave us a free gift that qualify us to be able to enter heaven. After our old nature later will be removed, but now we have two natures as a Christian, the old nature and the new nature. The Bible refers to it as the old man and the new man.
So what's been your most rewarding experience since publishing your book?
Well, I guess people have read it have said that when they read it the second time, they find more stuff. The more they read it, the more they get out of it, because they start seeing the big picture and how all the details come together to actually emphasize the big picture.
Now, did your environment or upbringing play any major role in your writing?
Not really, although when I was in the third grade, God answered a prayer. It's a long story, but basically it was miraculous. And I realized that God wasn't only preparing a place for me in heaven, but he was part of my life today.
So how would you describe the writing style you're using?
It's factual. It actually uses half of the Bible as part of the book. It's segments of the Bible that are put together for us to be able to understand different subjects. For instance, Resurrection Day looks confusing. It looks like there's contradictions. What I do is I put the Bible verse in there, dark print, so you can see it. And then I put the connecting commentary between the verses so you can add them all up and see what's being said.
Now, most authors have a very specific reason for writing a particular book. What was your reason for writing this book?
Well, actually, it was back in the 1970s, or actually God started showing me things in the 70s. I was in a lot of trouble. I'd messed up my life from being a teenager. And he started showing me and put me back together. And then in the 80s, he brought this verse to my attention. It's in Habakkuk 2:2. It says, "And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision, make it plain upon tablets, that he may run with it, that readeth it." And about 10 years ago, I was sitting in my porch by the pool, and I heard him say in my prayers, it was in my heart, I was praying, talking to God. He says, start the book today. And I was kind of taken back, and I thought, okay, how about a confirmation? Because you need to confirm anything that's being spoke to you in your heart. Just make sure that it's actually accurate, true. And that lunchtime, I come home for lunch. I turn on the TV to hear the news as usual. And the first words off the TV was, don't die without writing that book. So God confirmed it that day to start writing the book. That was about 2006, I believe. I don't know even the exact year, but I remember the day was a Thursday.
So what part of your book would you say you personally like best?
It depends on what I'm thinking about, but I think the part that most people, as well as myself, really enjoy is towards the end, the part that's coming ahead, including prophecy, what heaven's going to be like, different things on how we're perfected. It's really looking forward to how good heaven's going to be, and it's a real place, and it's described in the Bible.
So other than selling your book, of course, is there anything else you hope to accomplish with it?
Yes, I hope it becomes a textbook in colleges for Christians that want to be pastors, to have a better foundation, a better handle on what the Bible has to say than the general society has today. Because I believe there's coming a great awakening when people are going to come together in truth, particularly people, Christians. Right now, they have a different versions and they conflict with each other. So I hope this verse will unify people that are Christians, particularly in truth.
So in your opinion, who should buy your book?
People that are interested in what the Bible has to say, being able to understand what the Bible has to say and how it applies to our current situations, gives us hope for the future, gives us understanding of our past, and helps us be free from deception, free from ourselves sometimes, and what the problem is with the war within. It's addressed and how they have victory from what's attacking your mind sometimes.
Do you have a website?
Yes, it's deepfoundations.org.
And could you spell your name for us, please?
Yes, it's Rick, R-I-C-K, Peterman, P-E-T-E-R-M-A-N.
Well, this has been just great. Our guest today has been Rick Peterman, and he is the author of Deep Foundations, a biblical tour of our past, present, and future. Rick, thanks very much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
This is Don McCauley, wrapping up another edition of The Author Show. Go out there, buy Deep Foundations today, and please share this interview with your friends so that they too have the opportunity to discover our guests and their work. The Author Show can be accessed at any time at theauthorshow.com. Selected interviews can also be found on major platforms like Amazon Fire TV, the Roku channel, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, and many more. And whether you're an author who would like to be featured or a reader in search of new books to read, The Author Show is a great place to start. Check us daily as we continue to introduce wonderful authors of very interesting books on The Author Show.
Thanks for listening to The Author Show. Find out more about authors and their work at theauthorshow.com. Theauthorshow.com. Tune in next time to another great author on The Author Show.